Welcome to Wealthy Mind, where we talk about all things finances, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the surprising. Welcome to Wealthy Mind. I am your host, Misty Rose Gold, International Success Coach, and we are ensuring that you have a wealthy mind. So today I have with me Amanda Johnson. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, so glad to be here.
I am so glad you're here. I'm so excited for today, like bouncing off the walls excited because what you do is so aligned with where I'm at right now.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it.
Right? I know. I gave you a little bit of preview, so everybody listening, she kind of already knows what's going on. But uh, Amanda, please tell our audience, what do you do? What's the name of your business? What do you do?
Sure, I have two businesses. One is Saved by Story. It is a writing and publishing house that helps people who want to tell their stories and get their messages out from inspiration to impact. So I have the idea, or I have this manuscript that I'm not sure is good enough. Somebody help me get it right and get it out into the world and make the impact and income that I want to make. So that's Saved
Hmm,
by Story.
okay.
Individuals come to us to work with us. And then over the last 20 years, I've had the most amazing experiences with my clients, learning the power of story, the power of writing, the power of storytelling and community. And so I got the call about, 18 months ago to take all of those skills and take them out to other communities. So I'm looking at supporting individuals in the mental health community and education and all of these different spaces, parents who really could use a little bit of mindfulness around what they're consuming in the way of story and how they're using it to connect with other people.
Hmm. That is really powerful. Thank you for everything that you do. But today we want to highlight the story oracle, which is Amanda. So I wrote down, and you can feel free to use this in your marketing moving forward. Write your way to freedom. That's what she helps people do, especially entrepreneurs and people that want to make a bigger impact, men and women alike. So write your way to freedom. That is just like, tell me about that. It's juicy, very juicy. It's powerful and juicy.
It is. And it's kind of an odd thing to think about for most of the individuals who find me. I work with a lot of high performing, overachieving individuals who are making a huge impact in the world and are looking for, they got the call to write because, well, sometimes they have no idea. I just need to write a book. I've wanted to write a book my whole life. And then I
Mm.
go, oh, okay, I know what's really coming with that. But some of them are really clear goals. I want this to distill the elixir that I'm bringing to the world so that I can take my business to the next level. Or I want to build, a stronger framework foundation. I need to get to stages, and it would be easier if I was a published author. They have these other goals. And so, what's fascinating is you wouldn't think that those people are really not feeling free. From the outside looking in, you might think that they've got everything. They're doing the things that a lot of people wish they could, making a big difference,
Mhm,
making a giant income. They have the house and the fence and the kids and the spouses, and they have
mhm.
all of these things that in our culture we hold up and say, well, they've made it. And yet there's something in them that isn't free. And
Yeah.
when I sit with them, it becomes really clear that there is something that has been like it's that thing, whatever, wherever they don't feel free, that's the part that's keeping them from actually making the time, to achieve a book, right? Because they've been these achievers in all these other places. They've written dissertations and they've written all of these different things for other people to accomplish other goals. And yet the process of writing for them just feels impossible. Why? It's because a part of
Mhm.
them is going to be discovered, that part that doesn't feel free.
Well, as a published author and somebody who is writing books currently, you have to sit with it. You have to like, if I know high achievers aren't used to sitting still, they're not used to actually sitting with themselves. But if you're going to write something that's effective for yourself and for other people, you have to write from your soul.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you got to sit with yourself long enough to write from that space. So it's counterintuitive to them, of course.
Mhm. Yeah,
Understood.
totally understood. I've
Now,
been one of those people.
I'm with business owners on a daily basis. So, that's the world we live in, right? But I chose at a very young age to do everything and do it fulfilled on a daily basis to the best of my ability. So that helps me lead the way and be the good leader that I am in the space that I hang out in because you can have whatever it is that your heart truly desires and be fulfilled. You don't have to burn yourself out doing it. You don't have to do it and be miserable, all the things. So I love that this is a way for people to find their path to freedom. The
Yeah,
writing process is a process
it is.
and it can kick your ass at times.
I almost want to call it the wrestling process, because it's writing, but it's more than that.
hmm Yeah, you're wrestling with yourself. You're wrestling with concepts, ideas, perceptions. I mean, God, I was wrestling with my inner child for the last 5 days
Mhm. Yeah.
because she's like, wait, this is my perception of this event. And I'm like, wait, there's a divine perspective that we need to take instead, right? So wrestling with her is not fun because she's a stubborn little shit.
Yeah, but at least you know what you're doing. You
At
know,
least I do.
a lot of individuals don't understand that it's the 5-year-old or the 10-year-old or the 15-year-old that every time they sit down and open up their laptop thinking, I'm gonna write a chapter, they get it's that part of them that's making them get a headache or have a stomach ache or have someone call them and need them right now to do something really quickly, to save them from the wrestle.
The distractions. I have had to eliminate distractions, like consciously tell people I'm in a writing process, leave me alone, go away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then some people do not respect my boundaries, so therefore they become the distraction. And I'm like, nope, nope. Even today, the process I went through between meetings, I'm like, these people are trying to hold on to me, and why are they trying to distract me from this? So I had to really focus, and I'm like, oh. Once it came out of me and once I realized what was going on, I'm like, they're trying to distract me because they know once I shift, once I have this realization, they're no longer going to be aligned with me.
Yep.
So they're
Yep.
grasping at me, trying to distract me because they can feel me slipping away.
Yep. Yep. I've seen that. And I've seen, one of the things, personal, professional development that I saw a lot, um, is how, you have one person who commits to like, I'm doing it, right? I'm gonna build this business. I'm gonna write this book. I'm going to fix this old story that is just so broken.
Mm.
And if the other person doesn't know what's happening, then yeah, it absolutely threatens the status quo of the relationship. Um, and a lot of them, again, you know what's happening, right? This is all in your awareness because you hang out in this realm of
Mm.
shadows and kryptonite and all of the things that right? And yet there's so many people who, to your point, like those high achievers are moving so quickly and they don't necessarily have the opportunities to sit down and really listen and ask,
Mm.
why is it I had one client who was writing um, uh, the story of being abused through her teen years.
Hmm.
She had left that relationship. She'd found this unbelievable man, just an absolute angel who was helping her to heal and repair all of this horrible stuff. And so she started to write, and all of a sudden, he started to behave a little bit more like the abuser.
Oh my.
And she was like, "I don't know what's happening." And I said, "Where are you writing? In our house?" Yeah. So you're hanging out in that story, in that energy, going back to the character, right? Having to
Yeah.
write it true from where you were. And he's
Mhm.
walking right in and just responding to what's happening. He's responding to that old energy.
Right.
So even conversations you're talking about boundaries, thinking about in terms of even writing environment when you have to go
Mhm.
into those, icky old places and it doesn't even have to be a horribly traumatic thing, but it's just something that you're not proud of, something that you really wish you didn't want, you don't have to share with people to help them understand that you totally get them. But if you don't do it, you don't make that connection. But if you do it in the wrong place, you can create quite the mess, without that awareness and the tools to kind of clean up the energy when you're done.
That's beautiful insight. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I love to go outside. So when I'm outside, everything is clear. There's a lot of inspiration that comes to me, and that it's, I'm not lost in my own thoughts. I'm distracted by nature. So I have my books with me always in Google Docs. I set up my books in Google Docs, and then I have the Google Doc app on my phone. So it's with me everywhere I go, which means when the inspiration hits, I can pull it out and write. But yeah, I do most of my writing outside, not in the house. But
Yeah.
I never, like, I'm single right now, so I never really thought of how it would impact somebody's energy in the same space as me, but I totally see it happening. Totally.
Yeah.
And you have to set the right expectations. And, we just have to be more open with communication and set better expectations in general. This applies to business. It applies to everything, right? This is one of the topics within a training that I do. It's number 3 is setting better expectations. So I was the responsible adult and, I was like, hey, okay, anybody in my life right now, I'm just going to let them know that I'm going into a writing phase and I will be unavailable nights and weekends. So thank you for understanding type of situation. And some are understanding, some aren't, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And if you want to take, if there are people that you really do want to take with you, you have to have those conversations.
Hmm.
My first book, I gave myself 6 months and I attached this giant event to it and I started selling tickets to the event. And I sent the whole thing out and I mean, I had a strong outline, but I hadn't written anything. And so I think it was probably in response to the launch email. I got an email back from a gentleman that I had worked with a few years back who had left because he had to go fight cancer. And I'd heard that he was in remission and was probably going to come back. So I thought that's what he was contacting me for. No, the cancer had come back and they'd given him 30 days. And he said, "There are three things that I have to do before I go.
Wow.
And one of them is get all of this knowledge and wisdom out of me because it would be a shame if I took it with me." And
Mm,
so I, of course, shoved all of my own personal writing and everything aside so I could help him do what he needed to do 30 days, almost to the day he was gone.
wow.
And having walked alongside him through that process was absolutely transformational. It doesn't even
No.
close to that. Um, And so then I was grieving, and then I was in the holidays, and so maybe 2 days after Christmas, I remember looking at my phone and think my calendar and thinking, "I have to write this book in 3 weeks to
That's
get it
awesome.
to get it done in time, right? And now high achiever, over performer, right? Like deadlines are the thing. If I promise people I'm going to do something, hell or high water, that thing is getting done. But caregiving a grandmother, have a husband, have a little guy at home, and I want everyone to love me when this is over. Like, not resent me, not resent the project. And so I did
Yeah.
that. I sat down with them and I said, I have to do this. Um,
Hmm.
and how can we make it go? And so
Right.
what does everyone need? I need writing time. I need someone to help me with all of the stupid chores that I don't need to do. Other people could do that
Hmm.
for three
Hmm.
weeks. And then husband needed, date nights and this much time in the evenings to catch up.
Hmm.
Son, he wanted Disneyland once a week. And I thought, I mean, he's little. He's such a good little businessman negotiator. He's my partner now. And he said it would be good for you. And he was right. It was good for me to come up from
Hmm.
there and do something completely different, break frame, and
Hmm.
then dive back in. And so what was really cool though was when we had the big launch event, they owned the project as much as I did. And
Hmm.
that was an unexpected gift because I'd never
Yeah.
done that before. I'd always, cut corners and stolen time from myself or my self-care practices or this or that. And I knew 3 weeks, I cannot steal from my yoga practice. I cannot steal from my
Hmm.
nutrition or my spiritual practice. There's no way I can write this story
Hmm.
and survive it without those things. And so I asked and they delivered and they owned it. They were so much more excited about that than I was even. It was amazing.
That's incredible. And for me, it was like, okay, these people who aren't being supportive, bye.
There were
Because
people too.
because I need support. Like this is a process that either people are going to be supportive of or they're going to fight against it. And those who fight against it may not get to stay. So anybody writing their story, if you're going to write your way to freedom, freedom can potentially look like losing some people along the way, unless you have Amanda's situation where her family rallied around her and really supported her, which is what we should all do. Hello. We should all do that for people that say, hey, I'm going to write a book that is going to change my life and maybe some other people's lives. Wow, amazing. We should support that. So I just want to give everybody a reality check and a truth bomb right now. When you do this, it's going to disrupt relationships. And you're going to see the true colors of people when you endeavor to do something that is amazing and hard and beautiful and challenging and full of joy and possibly full of tears. It disrupts people. So be prepared for that, right? So the more prepared we are with the details of these journeys that we take, the easier it is to say, you know what? Okay, cool. I'm at a time in my life right now where it's okay if it changes my circle. It's okay if it changes the dynamic of a relationship. But the beautiful part is the people who actually choose to step up and support you in this process, it changes their life too. They get to do something selfless to uplift another human being. That's life changing.
Yeah. And sometimes even if they don't understand, I mean, I've had clients who, they had no idea that they were writing for freedom. And I spent 18 months trying to point out how the characters that they were complaining about during breakthrough sessions resembled the characters that they were writing on the page. And I'm like, do you see how these things are mirroring each other? No, 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 no. We didn't want to see it. Didn't feel safe enough to see it. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they did, and they really rallied all of their courage to face those stories and do the work to free themselves. I mean, the generational healing that happened,
Mm,
the conversations they were able to have with a parent that just wasn't even on the table before, not even a possibility. That the
yeah,
parent was able to have awareness and wake up. And then the kids are, that generational story that she found herself in, those kids don't have to live through it anymore. It's
that's amazing.
you handed it. It's incredible.
Mm, you love what you do just as much as I do. I can tell. That's amazing.
I really do. Nothing
I mean,
better.
I woke up this morning and I started, it's Monday. Woke up, hey, sending out messages to people that are in my world and my coaching and my mastermind group, that type of situation. It's like, this is amazing. I get to love on people every single day and let them know that they matter, and I get paid to do it, which is so cool. Like at the end of the day, people work with me because they know that I'm going to love them, I'm going to care for them, I'm going to help them and be their trusted advisor. Like, yeah, business is important, money is important, all the things, strategy is important, but at the end of the day, what's most important? Does this person genuinely care about me?
Yeah, definitely. And you see it again that those parts of themselves that aren't free, they show up to a retreat dressed to the nines, manicures, hair done, like the who they are in the world, right? And then all of a sudden the storytelling opens and they say something and you can just see them telling themselves not to run out of the building. And in that moment, they're free, right? Because they
Yeah.
let something out that needed to be let out.
Hmm.
And they're even more free because the people in their space didn't operate like all of the other characters have throughout their lives, right?
Mm.
Instead of shushing or gaslighting or minimizing, it's wow, it's curiosity, it's compassion, it's all of the things that we all want at all of those different ages
Hmm.
able to lean in. And to me, I mean, the books that come out of here are life changing, and the missions that people are on, I feel privileged to run alongside. But it's those moments that I live for, just
Mm.
seeing those little bits of freedom stack up across time.
Mm. I love that. And by the way, if you're a man, this applies to you too. You may not have your nails done, or you might, but anyway.
No, they come with different mannerisms. It's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to get your nails done, you can, but most of the guys I know, they don't. So,
Spend a lot of time getting the hair right, picking out the right outfit,
hmm.
you
Hmm.
those
Yeah.
all those different things. The self-talk, right? Who
Mm.
I'm gonna be when I walk into this space. I have to own it. I have to be strong. Mhm.
Yep. I understand. I've been on quite the growth journey myself throughout my entire life. So you're preaching to the choir. It's like, wait, no, my 40% is enough. My 20% is enough. My 100% is enough. Depending on who shows up each day, me, which percentage of me shows up, it's enough. It's such an amazing space to operate from. So if you guys and gals want that type of freedom, just think about that. Like, I'm enough as I am right now. I don't need to show up and put a mask on. I don't need to show up and pretend that everything's okay. Whatever it is. Like I show up to all of my meetings very authentic, and it works so well because it opens up the door for genuine connection. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what version of me they get, 20%, 40%, or 100%. It doesn't matter. Like it just works. That's awesome. Wow. Okay, this is definitely a juicy topic. What else do you want to share with the audience? I'm just drawing a blank right now, which is never the case, ever.
Well, one of the things that you talked about, we're talking about uh, individuals probably in your audience, who are just killing it out there, right? They're doing great things, they're growing amazing businesses, they're making an impact. And
Mhm.
that idea of slowing down, one of the things that I realized very early on was that kidnapping works really effectively because it's hard unless you have the muscle for it. It's very hard to do something like write for an hour a day to get something, to get a chapter written across time. Like I don't operate that way. And I don't know another
Mm-mm.
another person with my personality matrix who does that. We need to get in the zone and get it done and make sure that it happens properly. And so for me, I would say, the environment, that piece that we were talking about, where are you writing? Sometimes you might need to remove yourself from all of your environments, go
Hmm.
outside or go to a library or a coffee shop where nobody knows you,
Hmm.
or even take weekend retreats, whether that's with a writing community like ours or just on your own, where you have
Mm.
the ability to get away and only focus on that, turn everything else off, and have some form of accountability. Because, I do know a few of us high performers who um, we turn everything off and then we power down, right? You have to allow for that too, of that slide. And I used to start my retreats in the mornings, and I realized at the first one, like, no, we're not doing that again. We need the evenings, because these people would just like fly in, gonna get everything done. I'm trying to create this space of, dropping in, and the amount of time that it took to let go of all of the notifications on the phone and all of the conversations they had that day. It's like, no,
Hmm.
let's just sink in the night before and then get to it the next day. And that usually works. So if you're doing that for yourself, have a little bit of that time in too.
Oh, definitely. I practice that on the weekend. It's part of my programming already. So yesterday I was at the Botanic Gardens to be outside in nature because nature is part of my healing process. It just heals me, rejuvenates me, all the things. But I also know that it opens up me in a different way than if I'm at home or somewhere else, right? So I laid on a bench in the middle of the park, the Botanic Gardens, and I don't care who is looking at me and wondering, why is she laying on this bench? It looked like I was probably sleeping, but I was just taking in the energy of nature. I was taking in the sound of the waterfall and letting myself go deep into myself, which was almost drifting off to sleep. And then clarity came. I was
Yeah.
like, oh boy. And I started crying in public, in front of everybody, but I don't care because I've done that before. So I'm used to it, right? I'm like, if anybody cares that I'm crying, they should just like turn
Move
their head and walk away. But I was literally writing as the inspiration hit me and the tears were flowing and the realizations were coming and all the things, right? So it was very raw, very in the moment and so rich. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So there's so much benefit to changing your environment. And the more you practice the, hey, Monday through Friday, I'm a badass, I'm a go-getter. And then the weekend, we're going to switch gears. Let's unwind. Let's meditate a little bit. Let's go in nature. Let's, you know, change our environment so that the other parts of us can speak to the book because they do.
You do. Give them a little inch and they take a mile.
That's true. Sometimes I'm writing and I'm like, I feel like I should stop. And then there's another part of me that wants to keep going. And I'm like, no, I really feel like I should stop. So I close it and walk away. I
Yeah.
don't want to write too much too soon. I just want to make sure that it all comes together in the right way. So, yeah, the super structured, rigid writing schedules don't work for me either. Like, I would not get anything creative done if that's what I tried to do.
But I can do things like take, the way that we designed our program is the weekends away and then weekends online and then days online, where it's like people can really just block everything out,
Mm,
schedule it ahead of time, and they're getting a ton of the work done during that. So much so that most of the writing happens during that time.
hmm.
But you know, for me, when I take on a project, because so much of my work is being inside of other people's projects and stories all the time, I
Hmm.
have I have to be a little bit severe with my approach. Like, I will take 2 to 3 weeks of a sabbatical just to be able to like focus only on my stuff, because the nature of my work is it gets all it gets all tied up energetically with everyone else's
Sure.
content. So I do try to, you know, schedule that and find
Mhm.
a good spot.
Mhm. That's really good. Well, I know that everybody is learning from our personal experiences and just hearing about some of the experiences you've had with your clients and their journeys and just what this can do. So let's go ahead and wrap up with what is the carrot that they can potentially see in their future going through this process? Because it is a process. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There are times where it's really unfun, but it's mostly beautiful. I mean, for me, especially. So, what is that carrot that they can look forward to? The beautiful thing on the other side of this process.
You know, what comes to mind immediately is the experience that one of my clients is having right now, where she wrote a book for one person. She found herself in an ICU wondering if her daughter was going to live with the types of injuries she had.
Mhm.
And she could not find a single story of someone surviving it. And she told God during that time, if you recover her, you bring her back, I will write this story so that someone else can find this story. And I think that when I think about her journey and I think about the opportunity that we all had as we worked alongside her through the process to understand what real grief looks like, to understand what real courage looks like, what real faith feels like.
Mhm.
You know, I think the carrot is knowing that at some point someone will contact you and say, I'm never going to be the same because you wrote this book. And I mean,
Yeah.
what could you ask for?
As an author, nothing.
Yeah.
So I had one of those reports from my first book that I published from a girl of there's a Heritage Gifts, Cards and Gifts in Denver, so Centennial. And they asked me to put my books in there and they would sell them for me. And of course, they would take a cut of it. And I'm like, sweet, awesome, go for it, have fun. And I personalized one for the owner's daughter.
Mm.
And I just when I personalize a book, I get into my soul and I'm like, all right, I'm going to tap into this person's energy, if even if I don't know them, and I'm going to find the right message for them. So a lot goes into those. And I wrote a message for her and delivered the book to her mom and grandma. And a couple months later, I got a message from the mom. Hey, my daughter said that your book changed her life. I was like, done, done.
Makes it all worth it. All worth
That,
it. Because we were in that space one time, right? I mean, I remember when I didn't have, I needed a solution. I didn't have a single human in my life who could give me that solution.
mm,
And so where did I go? To the bookstore, to the library.
hmm
And those people became my mentors.
yeah.
Books gave me the next right step until I was in a space where I could find the right people. And so it's like sharing medicine with the world, and
hmm
you get the opportunity to give someone the same sort of gift that saved you at one point. There's just hardly anything better.
Yep, I can attest to it. It makes the pain of the process, whatever brought you to write that book. My first book is different from the ones that are coming next, but whatever took me through the journey to write that, there was a lot involved. And because there was so much time, experiences, joys, tears, money, all the things to publish a book,
Yep.
all of it, and to have somebody say, hey, this book changed my life. It's everything. You cannot describe the experience and the feeling of that experience to another human being until they've lived it. So if you all would love to make sure that you make an impact in the world before you leave it, take this path of writing. If you feel that little nudge inside of you, do it. Take the path. It's amazing. It's life-changing for you. And there's something magical that happens when you stop living for yourself, when you're in that energy of taking and living for yourself. There's a magic that happens when you start giving. And you're like, I don't want to take anymore. I want to give. How do I give? Right? We've all made that transition. Those of us who give to others and give to the world on a regular basis, we all made the transition somewhere to stop taking and to start giving. And that right there is a huge part of the process, in my opinion, to freedom. So just FYI, that's another little carrot they can look out for.
Definitely.
Awesome. So, Amanda, what is one way that the audience can get in touch with you? We will share all the others in the description.
Oh, the best way is to go to savedbystory.house and hit the contact button.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for offering this amazing service to people, high achievers especially.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's such a privilege and honor, really. I
Mm,
had no idea it would turn into this, and I'm just so grateful.
mm. It is a unique path to freedom and fulfillment. So, fulfillment, hey guys, you can have that fulfillment no matter what. We are all worthy no matter what. So, go for it. Reach out to Amanda. And until next time, we will see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wealthy Mind podcast. Please be sure to download the Wealthy Mind app today and make sure to support your local Dress for Success.